2 have armor. Hard to blockable. Wake up, destroy. Kings, queens, and everybody in between, I am not a preacher, I am not a teacher. We're gonna get right to it, so fasten your seatbelts because we're gonna go at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So as you can see here, we got the standing 1. You have the standing 1-2. You got the standing 1-2-2, which gives you a nice little knockdown and time to set up your zoning game. But be careful. Your standing 1, much like a lot of your buttons, are gonna be straight up highs, which means they can be ducked. If an opponent is just crouching and not holding the block button, these moves will whiff. The only part that will hit is the second hit of the 1-2-2 string because it is a mid, as you can clearly see. Now, off of the same button, standing 1, you have another branch of a string called standing 1-3. It's high overhead. It launches, and it goes into a lot of your set play, whether it's standing 3 follow-ups, forward 4 follow-ups, and the traps. There's a lot of things you can do off of this string. Now, we're going to talk about standing 2, which is one of my favorite strings because it leads in the 2-1-4-4, which hits high, mid, overhead, overhead, which pairs well with 2-1-3, which is high, mid, low. Most cameos play nice with the 2-1-4, the overhead string. Not too many play well with the 2-1-3, but Jax is an exception to that rule. Finally, we're getting to some mids for Quan Chi. You got forward 2, and do not be fooled. It has a deceptive hitbox. Sometimes you think that skull is in her forehead, and it's not like that, Playboy. You have to get a little bit closer. But the full string forward 2-1 knocks people full screen, gives you enough hit advantage to start your zoning game, get up a portal. It does a lot. We also have back 2, which as you can see is a overhead that you can charge into a full combo launcher. Now it is slow as piss, but look, it can hit people from Narnia. This move lasts longer and covers more than your last 2 relationships combined. That brings us to the 3s. You got standing 3, which is a high, but it is a godlike anti-air. All of that tentacle, all that big slurp. If you jump into the air, you're going to the Shadow Realm. You also have back 3, which is a low, which is going to get a lot of your combos started. It's going to be a string that you're going to be seeing quite a lot of. This brings us to the 4s. Standing 4 is that portal kick. You can sneak it out neutral if you're in the zoning war. You have forward 4, which you're never using this string. Forward 4 and forward 4-4. This is only coming out at the end of combos to set up zoning or going into bone traps. Now, as for all your crouching normals, pokes, and sweeps, they're all pretty good. You're just going to have to learn the ranges that you want to play with and play in with your skeletons. I'm not going to bother trying to explain this to you in depth. This is something that you're only going to get a feel for by actually playing actual matches and going into the lab yourself. But just know they're pretty good. They have pretty good hit advantage. However, your down 1 is very unsafe. Quan Chi's Achilles heel is the fact that he cannot get people off of him. So when you do a down 1 or a down 3 and you can fit it in there, your best bet is to do EX portal. I know you don't want to come off a bar for defensive purposes, but it allows you to push your opponent away. And not only can it get you some sick whiff punishes, but sometimes when you're against the clock and you can't have your opponent hit you, it can help you close out rounds. All right, lightning round. For special moves, you got Skull, EX Skull, Air Skull, Air EX Skull. With these skulls, you can actually change the speed of your EX skulls. You can have it go slow across the screen. You can have it go fast across the screen. And to do this, you just hold forward or backwards, depending on if you want to speed it up or slow it down as the skull is coming out on screen. And Air EX Fast Skull, as you saw, is Bugatti Veyron Fast. Now we get to the juicy stuff. We got Trap. You can bring it close. You can leave it alone, let it go mid. You can push it far by holding forward, or you can press up and it goes full screen. This move does not automatically track the opponent. You do have to aim it. Very similar, you're down back 1, big old skull, has the exact same ranges. It hits overhead. It's a nice thing to sneak into the neutral of your zoning game. The enhanced version hits overhead mid and it launches in the corner or if they're inside of the bone trap. Unfortunately, mid-screen, you do not get anything off of it, really, unless you have a good ambush cameo to pick people up. Quan Chi himself is just left looking at the wind, getting a standing forward. That's about all you're getting off of this. Now, let's talk about the portal. What it does is it changes the properties of all of your flying skull moves, provided you're standing in it. EX Skull used to just knock down. Now it's a combo extender, putting you in a portal, allowing you to go into all of your set play shenanigans from the forward 4, which we'll get into later. Down back 1 is no longer an overhead. It is now a series of skulls that stop all types of jumps. The EX does retain the overhead property and will launch, but suffers from the same drawback of the previous one, where you're not going to get too much combo potential off of it. Your air skulls will now home in on your opponent, so if they try to jump, it'll actually curve up and try to hit them, while regular ground skull becomes a barrage of projectiles. You can also move your portals. You can move them forward. You can move them backwards. You can do it in the middle of a string. You can do it in the middle of a throw animation. You can even do it while blocking. Well, comment section, now it's time for us to get to the real juice. Remember how I said you don't get anything off this move? You don't get a jump in, you don't get a standing 3. Also, same thing going for the EX version in the portal, you get nothing. However, secret move, unlisted. If you do it outside the portal and move the portal on top of you, it becomes an overhead low. And I already know what some of you are thinking. Whoa, dude, that's broken. Well, not quite. You see, it works on a lot of the cast, but not everybody on the cast. So as you guys will see here with Melina, she is one of the characters where the game's hard to blockable protection, where overheads and lows hit really close together, actually activates. You see, she's only set to block overhead right now. As you can see, lows are supposed to hit her, but she will block it automatically. So she is not one of the characters that it works on, but it will still hit them if they're not blocking or if they're crouch blocking. And I think that'll do it for special moves. Now let's get into some very basic 101 strategy. As for basic game plan things, when you're full screen, you can use your standing 4, keep people out with projectiles, set up portals, traps. You can even bring the overhead projectile into it if you want to get really cheeky. I'm certain you've all played fighting games before. You don't need me to teach you how to chuck plasma. And remember, with the current buffs, the Quan Chi, the bone trap will actually come out on block, which forces some pretty nasty situations. So when it comes to putting it together in the game plan, obviously a lot of people are going to be trying to jump over your projectiles. They're going to be trying to move forward because they don't want to get clipped by standing 4. There's so many things that they're going to want to avoid, whether it be getting stuck in a cage and jumping forward, or thinking you're going to chuck a projectile and then they run into standing 3. Standing 3 is a god button once you get your stuff going. Now, when it comes to the cameo section, I am not going to go too in depth. I'm going to speed run some of the cool things that you can do. Sector's got loops. You could do another repetition of this in the bigger damage, but you can also get your setups, have a rocket keep you safe. They block the mix. Now, as for Chameleon, she's got some funny stuff. Obviously, with Jade Glaive, you can do stuff like this and get your big damage. So with Katana active on Chameleon, you can do something kind of interesting off the back 3 string. You can get the knockdown, go in for another overhead, go into something cheeky, call Melina, and get ready to go into your generic set play, whether it's portal, bone trap, etc. And some of you may be thinking, yeah, but what if they just armored wake up? Like, especially with a character like Peacekeeper. I don't want to deal with that. And then you get to punish their wake up with standing 4 and then go right back to the zoning. It also works on characters who have wake ups that don't go as far and or don't move. You can also then go into another extension if you want to spend more meter, and with forward 4-4 to get them full screen, or just regular forward 4 to go for your setups. Like, there's a lot of options that you have here. It's very layered. So this is just kind of dirty. If you use the Serena cameo, you can get someone in the corner with the meter drain portal and the meter drain curse from Serena, which takes an entire bar away from them. So if you don't want somebody breaking, you don't have to let that happen. As you can see, Omni-Man's got about 2 bars. He's about to get breaker, and oh, what's this? And you can establish mid-range stuff with forward 2. You can go for throws. You have armor intermittently here. And look, Omni-Man went from about to get breaker to not even having 2 bars. Quan is a character that has a lot of flexibility and a lot of different things that you can do with each cameo in the game. And creativity and ingenuity are rewarded, so go nuts. Especially when you get your armored portal up, there's usually not even a wrong answer on the table. So sometimes you're going to get a nice juicy knockdown and you want to be able to hit somebody with an unblockable. Well, if you throw out a bone trap and you throw them right as they're about to do their armored move, the throw combos into the trap, into the nice little restand, no wake up, into the hard to blockable, and now you have the option to go for the zoning, the setup, or raw damage by finishing your combo. And the best part is, you can do any of these sequences in any order. You can do the restand first. You can do the throw breaking armor setup. You can do the portal setup. You can do all of them off of each other. And while the armor portal is up, you can charge up back twos while they're stuck in the cage. Get a hit of armor, get a full combo launch. If they block it, you're +8 because it's plus on block. You can cancel it early and then go into Bone Trap or go into Portal. You could set up a lot of dirty things when you get that armor on you. Now for the basic B&Bs, you can do any starter, back 2, back 3, 1, 2, anything in the Sub-Zero cameo. Then obviously get the Portal, EX Skull, and you'll get anywhere from like 300 to 370 off of that. If you want to go for something a little bit more fun and entertaining, obviously you can end with 1-3 into a setup. And this setup's really good because even forward advancing armored get up moves are actually stuffed. It absorbs the hit, keeps you safe, and you get a full combo punish for big boy damage. And if you look at the top left, you'll see that Sub-Zero was not on cooldown, which means I could have gone for another setup, stole meter, got armor. There's so many different nuanced things that you can do with this character. Like just on first hit, you can go for the hard to blockable. Get that nice little dash forward, get the nice hard to block, go into this, it combos. Now you got the portal. If they block the back 3-4, then they end up having to deal with your armor games. Look, I'm not your sensei, I'm not your tutor. This was a speed run presentation of what type of dirt you can do with this character. Go out, be creative, and let me see what you come up with. And as always, thanks for watching.